Staying safe out here is important. So here's a few tips and tricks, things I've learned over the years to keep me and the freight safe. Now, as we get started, yeah, we all know about padlocks. We got these neat little boxes on the trailers and whatnot, and you can put your padlock in there. You know, it's got the regular padlock style lock here and here, but actually, you've got a pretty good brace here, and that seems to help. It also helps if you have a suitable padlock for that. The small one will work. But the small ones can be broken with a pair of wrenches or beaten off with the hammers. Truthfully, a lot of these things you buy in truck stops are just junk. So spend the money. But I'll show you what we got. What we got is this enforcer style lock. It's pretty beefy. It's got a round style key that goes into it. Like that. And it's pretty stout for the back end of that trailer. You're not really going to get one off that easy, but like my old company, in fact I still got it, we used the just American locks. We had the locks on the back of the trailers that were fixed, and everything was keyed the same, so somebody getting a key was really easy. And truthfully, these kind of keys are really easy to pick. They slow guys down, but they don't stop them. Guys see this right here, he might end up looking for easier pickings, but if he's got an hour or two to kill and you're nowhere around, it's not going to be that hard. But let's go to the next thing. Now truthfully, it's always good to carry an extra padlock or two with you. I usually hang them from the bottom of the seat. I don't have any right here, but you can see it's scuffed. I usually hang one or two of them here. That way they're always by the door. And I'll leave the keys in them. You never do know when you might need a padlock. Now truthfully, I don't recommend dropping loaded trailers at all, but if you have to, like if you get a flat tire or something like that, buy yourself one of these. Try to find one in metal. This one's plastic. It's a deterrent, but not by much. I prefer the metal ones, but this is better than nothing. This locks on your fifth wheel, or not your fifth wheel, your glad hand. It basically just, well, I don't have the key right now, but slides over like that and creates a lock. Put it on the red side, that way it's constant air. If you find a good one, they're 15-20 bucks. I prefer to use, like I said, the metal ones, but the plastic ones will work in a pinch, but they're just base generic. But when it comes to things like fifth wheel locks, spend the money. If you want something that's going to go underneath your truck on your fifth wheel, I don't have one to show you, I wish I did. Spend the money on one that's all encompassing. Don't get the pot metal ones that work with a padlock. If you get those little slide on ones that just have the little padlock that you just kind of clip on and they stay on there, they break real easy. How do I know? I've broken 2 or 3 of them. If a guy really wants to, all he's got to do is back into the truck once or twice, and that pot metal will literally snap right off, hit the ground, boom, and they got your trailer. So spend the money on a good lock if you're going to do that. One of the other locks I wish I could find an example of is the enforcer for the back door, and I'll show you what it does. The old enforcer style literally is just a hook from that bar to that bar and wraps around it all and locks it together with an internal padlock. Basically, it's 2 pieces of metal that ratchet themselves together, and that'll stop that. But back when I started driving, one of the big things to do, guys thought was funny, was to start, they would pull your fifth wheel pin. There's nothing funny about that. But here's a little trick that you can do to where they can't get it out. On your fifth wheel, you see your little lever there. You pretty much want this thing to be in a relaxed state when you pull the pin. If you get too much tension on the back, the pin won't release. So one of the common things that you can do is when you park for the night, or you're going to park and you're afraid somebody might pull your pin, you don't have to kill it, but put a little bit of tension on your fifth wheel. Take all the slack out of it, and it'll be very hard for them to pull that pin. I'm not saying it can't be done, but if they jerk on it 3 or 4 times and can't get it, chances are they're not going to. But that being said, just make sure that you check your pin whenever you stop your truck. It doesn't matter if you were gone for 30 seconds or 3 hours or 3 days. Always check your pin. Just trust me on that. Now, keeping your load and your trailer safe is just one very small part of your job. Another part is keeping you and yourself and your truck safe. And that starts with where you park. I'm over here at the Loves in Sioux Falls today doing a restart. I got my truck washed earlier. It looks nice. Pretty. When I was young and dumb, you know, a truck stop was a truck stop. I've stayed in a lot of sketchy places. And as you mature in this business, you're going to find there's a lot of places you like, and there's a lot of places you need to stay out of. And those places will kind of start making themselves known. Truthfully, I don't stay in too many inner city places. It's weird, like in Gary, Indiana, the Petro is okay, but the across the street at the Loves, you need a bulletproof vest. You know, and I won't even go to Burr Street. Figure out where you will go and where you won't go. Part of staying safe and staying secure is stopping at places that, you know, are not bad. If you get places and you notice a lot of transient activity, and there's a lot of people wandering around the parking lots and things like that, that's probably not a good place to stay. And truthfully, I do understand that sometimes you really don't have an option. Like before they closed the 2 pilots there in Memphis, there's been a couple times I've had to stay there. I never stayed at the one on the north side of the road. I always stayed at the one on the south. And it was bad. There was a reason for that, but you just have to pick and choose what you do. And sometimes if you got a fridge and all that, if the customer will let you stay there inside a fence, sometimes that's just the best option. So just be discerning about what you're doing. Have a little wisdom about where you park, because I'll tell you right now, it can make a world of difference. Now, when you got to protect yourself, there's certain things that you need to do, like your door locks. Part of maintaining your truck, put a little WD-40 on your key, slide it in and out on the lock, make sure the locks are functional, make sure they go up and down. If you've got a key fob, you know, like I do for my truck, you know, make sure it's functional, make sure the battery is up to date, and you know, make sure everything works. Keep all your doors locked except the one you're using, and even when I drive, I keep it locked, because I can be sitting at a stoplight and some guy can walk up and just yank the door open. And truthfully, if you get pulled over, a lot of these officers are yanking doors open, which is, I do believe in a lot of places that is illegal. They're not allowed to do that. Keep your passenger door locked all the time. But keep your locks in good functioning, you know, and like with your gas caps right now, if you can get a set of locking gas caps, they're a little more expensive, but if you're a company driver, it's up to the boss, whether he wants to spend the money or not. Let him make those decisions. But that being said, make sure your locks are in good functioning order. And if you have to, even if you got to spend a few bucks of your own money, a little can of WD-40, and make sure those locks work. Might save your life. Now, with anything with locks, everybody knows that Peterbilt and Kenworth have about 15 keys will open 100% of their trucks. So, while, you know, you got your locks and your truck is locked, chances are of them breaking in is not at zero. So, what a lot of guys are doing, and a lot of gals especially, is they're tying the door shut. I don't have any ratchet straps on me right now, but they'll run a ratchet strap from that handle to that handle and then tie it shut. And a lot of times they'll also get curtains around so people can't look in, but if you can physically tie that door to that door, it's good. But there is one downfall of that. If there is a fire, you're not getting out. Unless you have a Kenworth or a Peterbilt with a side door that you can jump out. So if you put a small ratchet strap down, hang a knife from it. That way, if something happens, you can just whack it and be out. You know, staying safe isn't just keeping people out of the truck. It's making sure you can get out of the truck when you need to. And so that's just par for the course. Also, on the outside of the truck, get a hide key or someplace like that, and hide a key on this truck to where if you lose your keys or somebody robs you or something like that, you can still get in the truck. That's very important. As I was editing this, I realized I didn't show one thing, and there was a reason I didn't show it, and I'll show you here now, and that's the seatbelt trick. It's Dave from the future. You can tell I've gotten older, but let me show you what I'm talking about. A lot of guys sit there and they'll wrap their seatbelts around the doors here. My seatbelt's not long enough to clip, and then clip it in and hold it. That's all fine and dandy, but it does have one bad thing. While I will agree this will work in a pinch if your seatbelt actually reaches, like mine does not, it goes back to how fast can you get out of the truck if there's an emergency. That's going to slow you down, and that, if you've ever seen one of these trucks go up in fire, I know I've brought that up before and I'm not trying to be horrible about it, is these trucks are all fiberglass. When they ignite, 45 seconds and you're done. And that right there, in a pinch will work, but always act with discretion. And if you got a knife and you got to cut through it, with the single strap method from door to door, it's easier to cut through one strap than 2 to 3. So just food for thought. Now before I go, there's one more thing that will help you in your security, and I'm going to do some more of it on my truck, but that's cameras. I'm looking at putting a 4-camera setup on this truck, which I think will be really cool. I've got some other things to do first, but having a good camera setup, even if the company has their own company camera, having your own is worth it. I have the Rand McNally here, and this is the company camera here. And the company camera, you can either access it through the people net here, or the I got a little panic box that is not supposed to be in here, but oh yeah, here it is. So if I get, sorry about the mess, comm checks, hooray! When I'm going, I can actually hit that smart drive button and it'll automatically start recording. So a lot of guys will mount these on their dash. I didn't have a decent place to mount it, so you just hit that. But see how it's not on right now? That's a problem. It only works when the system's powered up. So I'll turn the key on here, and let's see if this thing fires up. Let's turn that on. Alright. And I guess it hates me. Well, that being said, there is a little button on the people net with, this is OER, and I can hit that real quick if I have to. And I have that on the main screen while I'm driving. It's a 1-button push. But I have my own dash cam here for one main reason, and that's if somebody hits me in a parking lot and I'm not in the truck, I can get them on camera. And that's basically to cover myself and for the insurance. Or if something happens in front of you, or I don't trust these company cameras all that well. They've just been kind of a calamity in my experience. So if you got to get your own, get your own. Cover yourself. Let the company cover the truck. You cover yourself. That being said, security starts with you. Security starts with you being aware of your surroundings, where you're at, what you're doing, and your situational awareness is paramount here. Keep an eye on what you're doing. Lock your truck up, lock your trailer up, make sure everything's in good working order. Even if it's a company truck, a little bit of WD-40, make sure the locks work, make sure your key fob works, keep a hidden key somewhere on the truck, and just watch what you're doing. Be careful, because it's a dangerous world out here. But you can minimize the danger by following decent steps, by, like I said, situational awareness, parking in good spots, and just being very mindful of what you're doing. Don't put yourself in harm's way. And like we talked about with, you know, like the collapsible baton and knives and stuff like that, be very aware of what you're able to get away with and what you're not allowed to have, whether it's a company policy or whether it's law in the state you're in. You know, there's a lot to think about. This job, it can be a little taxing and things like that, because we have a lot of different rules that govern our industry exclusively. So it's important to understand as many of those as you can and just be reasonable about it. Other than that, I mean, just watch yourself. It doesn't have to be bad. So that's just something that was on my mind. I talk about safety, you know, cargo safety, truck safety, personal safety. Watch yourself. Take care of yourself out here, guys, and we'll see you next video.